Hi guys, welcome to Robin Hood Diaries. Today, hope you're doing well. Can't complain today for once, right? I preview today as these kind of pilgrimages that I insisted myself upon myself. Pilgrimages to Manhattan, New York City, Brooklyn once, but anyway. Once to twice a year, once minimum, twice, average once to twice a year, every year from about 1984 or 5 until, oh gosh, I don't know, 2004, I don't know, 95, I don't know. So it spanned basically a decade, and it wasn't an obsession. It was like sort of a determination, a commitment, personal commitment for my own well-being to make pilgrimages to Manhattan, basically, frequently. So, because New York City is real and Hollywood is fake. No, I'm just kidding. It started kind of with a fascination of New York City that I've covered in another show where I thought I was going to be a ballet dancer living my life in New York City, like Saturday Night Fever or whatever, his girlfriend, or whatever she was. So I had these dreams of New York City after being exposed to it with my mom a few times. She would take me there, of course, and go to the best restaurants and, like supper clubs and things like that. High tea at Four Seasons, whatever. So that got the bug in my ear, in my brain, about how I loved Manhattan. Now, this goes even further back to that. My friend Alexis Kadam, who was extremely wealthy at the time, who blew his money and ended up with virtually nothing, but he was very, very upscale in Manhattan at the time, one of the first car phones. And so I used to also drive around with him in his big black Mercedes. So I am so early on inundated with Manhattan. I can't stand it. I think that is the cultural mecca. At that point, I thought like the whole entire country, maybe Chicago, was a waste of time. So the earlier trips I would take, and again, these were spur of the moment. Like I would just say, I'm going to New York. Like, at any age, well, from 18 to for a decade, I would just do this. I would also do this for other reasons to other places. Like I would sort of dissociate mentally and like go to Vegas and like gamble for 3 days or whatever. Gambling wasn't a problem. New York City. So I would go there. Initially, it was to enjoy the city by myself, which there's lots to enjoy by yourself, and see Broadway shows. So that was like my main objective, sort of. Early on in these frequent trips to New York City was to see shows, see at least 3 shows in one trip. Because, and again, I don't Google my show, so I don't know, it's probably non-existent anymore, maybe. It was called TIX, T-I-X, and if you went there during the day and waited in line, you would get really lucky, especially with a single-seater. I got like amazing seats just because it was one seat, and they were half price at TIX. You had to go that same night or that same day, but they would basically pay, they'd hand you a ticket at 50%, and you'd basically go run to the theater. So I would do this, of course. Now, then I started going, I had my, well, gosh, let's see. I didn't start getting into, because, of course, it was 18 at the time for drinking, and I hope so. So then I started to ease into kind of a more social, involving other people than Liz is social, with friends in New York City. So I went to New York City with my friend, my like intellectual soulmate, because her father ran a movie studios, whatever, long story. And we went to see a screening of Rumblefish. And I told you I had a happenstance with Matt Dillon and an elevator and all this weird stuff. So again, that was early on. So then I'm moving towards like my party phase. So this is kind of like post Tim and John's demise, pre my husband, with a little wiggle room in the middle of that, that lost running with the wolves, like being crazy